Welcome back, everybody. Today we're bringing you a review of the international release, the Storm Dual Lock. If you like what we do, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and check us out on Patreon. A big thank you to Jeff Miller and Ron Hoppy. Don't forget to check out Haley's Pro Shop in Burlington, Washington for world-class drilling and coaching. First impressions, the Dual Lock is pretty. It does shape differently than the Snap Lock, but has its own place. Okay, so we decided to try out an international release. Obviously, anyone can buy this ball, but it is a little more costly for us in the US. However, we have watchers from all over the world. Here's the thing, I think the Rad X is a special core, so I'm always interested in balls with it. We had several balls stateside. To me, the Head & Shoulders clear favorites were the original lock and the Snap Lock. The GI-15 Hybrid was perfect on the lock. The R3S Pearl, same on the Snap Lock. R4S on this ball is clearly a tweak formulation. I'm not going to get into technicals comparing them, but rather ball reaction. It's crystal clear that R4S is smoother than the R3S. It's like it's earlier and doesn't create the explosion off the end of the pattern. The R3S does with the Snap Lock, but it'll certainly not feel earlier. To the bowler, the Dual Lock just feels like slightly less ball than the Snap Lock, with a little less responsiveness to friction. Now, I believe the only balls we got stateside with the R4S covers were the Fight and the Street Fight. I think those balls didn't make traction with bowlers here because people seem to assume that Storm equals back-end responsiveness, and therefore controlled shapes that stray a little too far confuse people. Now on the Rad X core, it certainly looks better. You just have to recognize that it isn't the massive responsiveness we typically see from Storm. Back-end responsiveness kind of reminds me of the Parallax, but a little less ball overall. I would say the Dual Lock is going to feel like less than most shiny ASIM, Storm, or Roto has put out recently. I would say it's more stronger than the AstroPhysix in terms of overall strength, but the Astro's cleaner and way snappier down lane, which is a more recognizable Storm reaction. So think somewhere between the Nuclear Cell, Snap Lock, those two, and the AstroPhysix in terms of strength, but also being smoother than all three. I do think that a little scuff, something I didn't do with the Snap Lock, but with this ball, will change this ball's character, and I might actually do a separate video of surface adjustments and see how it compares to the lock. I also tested two-handed, and what was amazing is that bit of extra smoothness made this ball so much easier to use than the Snap Lock for my game. The Dual Lock felt like an absolute no-brainer mid-define ball for my two-hand game. The higher rev rate means I'm generating stronger motion down lane, so having quicker response to friction without the 20 miles an hour of, say, Belmo is not a recipe for success. But the slight extra smoothness was just so eye-opening. Final thoughts, the Storm Dual Lock is an interesting piece. It was actually pretty fun to throw, and I do have an affinity for the Rad X core, so I'm wearing a bit of rose-colored glasses potentially, but objectively, this ball is simply not as strong as a Nuclear Cell or Snap Lock. Those two balls are perfect fits for my mid-defined one-handed bag, while something like the AstroPhysix would be more like a mid-late for me. So that sort of leaves the Dual Lock out in the cold. However, the Dual Lock fits squarely into my two-hand mid-defined slot, while the others are out. So if you're interested in a Rad X ball, I hope we gave you some useful information to chew on, even if it would cost a bit more to bring it stateside.